Good day, everybody. Welcome back to the Marvel Contest of Champions news show.
It's the fallout from Kabam's massive reveal live stream as Kabam jumped to the forums to answer these two things. First of all, why the 7-star crystal price is too damn high. Also, why was there no mention of Ascension? We have lots of other things to go over in this particular show as well. And why are players missing units after the side quest promises of last month? Yes, indeed, it is Monday. It's your Monday edition of the MCN. It is a show of Marvel Contest of Champions related information to shove in your faces for the swipe tap Marvel game that we all play. Make sure as well to do the like button, subscribe with post notifications on, all that lovely stuff. That's marvellous. That really helps out the channel if you could do that. Thank you very much. As a lot of you know from last month, there was this promise that if you were to spend your units on resetting your timer, if you remember the issue we kind of like talked about last month was the reset for your champions and incursions went from 5 minutes to 7 days, whatever, 6 days. Let's just say that 6 days, whatever it was. And that was an issue because like even for myself, I was like, well, I don't want to spend the units. If I clear like 500 to 600 units just to refresh some of the key champions, it's like, well, where do I get those units back? And there was that concern. Even one player that I kind of read was like, I don't know if I trust Kabam to get this back to players. And here's obviously where the thread has said, please use units to unlock them and our team will work to reimburse them after conclusion of the event. And that's April 4th. Now we're on April 17th and the event has concluded. Well, there's, a final point to this, and like, I'm not quite sure when this is going to be rectified. And that's the kind of the issue and fear that I kind of had on this. Is that when would be the time you get your units? We're just about to go into Act 8.2. If my extra units are not available for if something goes wrong in Act 8, I'm hoping I don't have to spend a single bit of units with Act 8.2, but it's going to be quite important depending on what the deal is at the end as to if I'm as a non-spending player going to chase that meta or wait for 3 more months until July 4th, or try and push to get 10,000 units in 3 months, which is another story for another day. But in any case, what is going on here? No update currently, but this is being taken care of on the back end, which means support isn't part of the process. The team will pull together a list of anyone who's spent units to unlock their champions in a specific time window, then we'll work to send out those units back to them. The team has been working on this, and I imagine you'll see these return to your account soon. So depending on what soon is it going to be this week? I hope it is. As I said, there's stuff on. There's Act 8.2. There's content to do. You want to be able to use your units for that stuff, and at the same time you want to prioritize what the how many more units you're going to need for things like July 4th deals if you are looking to get some of those at a later date. Now, depending on what your thought process and what you think about the 7-star, it's either going to feel like it's too high for others. Thing is, for me, when I first looked at this, I was like, it obviously feels too high. And the reason being is that we've invested a lot of time over the last year to acquire 7-star shards. They're not easy to get from a non-spending standpoint. If you're obviously free to play. If you're if you want to get a 7-star post the introductory offer, you may feel that again, like it's difficult to get, and the divide between those that spend and those that don't spend are becoming and will become even larger. It's something that kind of like even again makes me kind of less inclined to come back to spending in game, just because of this kind of like divide. Any case, right? Thought process. There's lots of thoughts from different players. And yeah, different wants, desires, and other things. Feels too high, to be honest. 12,500 would have been more palatable. Too high. The rent's too damn high. 15k, no way. Look, and there are people that are saying like, look, they kind of get it. They kind of feel like this is something that you're pushing further to get. It's kind of works out for the calculation side of things. There's different sides, different stories on this, and people are entitled to their own opinions. But as I said, for me, like, I just kind of feel it's too, as I said in the video, as I said when I first saw this, I just think it's a bit too high, especially because of, how it divides the non-spending to spending dynamic, what kind of eco space this will then lead for certain players being able to achieve certain types of ranks and rewards, because you're going up against some of the high hit pool versions of champions. and so many other things. In any case, let's go over what Kabam are responding against this, and yeah, just like where the logic is with it. So, Kabam Mike says the reason 7-star crystals cost 15,000 shards is because of the number of 7-star shards players are generating from 6-star dupes. When we are looking at the data, we saw that players are currently generating more 7-star shards through dupes than they were acquiring 6-star shards from sources when 6 stars launched. Now, I don't know where that data is coming from. I would say that it's not a fair reflection on the entirety of the community. I know that Kabam will take it from a generated source of all people opening 6 stars, but there are going to be some fine lines where it just seems completely ridiculous. And again, the gap between those that spend versus those that don't spend is going to be very much seen. We'll come back to that point in a minute. This is because of the way that rewards were stacked across progression groups that are all currently chasing 6 stars with 6-star rewards in content for uncollected Cavalier, Thronebreaker and Paragon players. I don't think that's particularly like a fair kind of grabbing of data, especially with what we're going to see in a second. This was inevitably the result of the longer gap between the introduction of 6 stars and 7-star champions compared to previous rarities. This dynamic meant that we had to change something about our plans for 7 stars. We didn't want to dilute the 7-star pool with lower quality champions. We didn't want to reduce the number of 7-star shards players could earn through content, and we didn't want to have to ration 6-star shards in content such as upcoming Paragon difficulty side quest. More info on this soon. Oh, Paragon difficulty side quest. That's great, but you know, this again, like there's something not mentioned. That is Battlegrounds. You purposely put in a load of 6 stars in Battlegrounds. That doesn't help out much. It's good. People liked it. But it's like you set up your own sword to fall on it with that one if that's the case. So the only real option we had was to increase the cost of 7-star crystal. We have scaled 7-star rewards to match this new cost. For instance, Alliance Wars rank 1 will still grant a full 7-star crystal for next Alliance Wars. Wow, so things are getting buffed as well. Are updated as we always a plan. However, the 7-star shards you get for duping 6 stars will remain the same, as reducing that ratio was the whole purpose of the decision to price 7-star crystals at 15,000 shards. Now, look, Kabam don't make any. It's all well and good like putting all this stuff here, but Kabam make no omission to those that you know, excessively spend. Now, as I said, one thing that is not mentioned within this particular post is that the divide between those that spend and don't spend. It is a difficult thing. And by the way, I'm not getting at anybody that spends in the game. It's up to you. You can spend. Like that's your choice. But what I will be getting at is it's Kabam's responsibility to manage the ecosystem between those that spend and those that don't spend. They have to kind of like find a good midway point. This is why, you know, matchmaking, Battlegrounds matchmaking needs to be fair. This is why then it's just a case of like, you know, following a decent as I said, eco space, fairness in the game. It's not fair in the game. It will never will be at this stage, because the pay to win elements do come in, and this thread actually kind of solidifies that. Because let's face it, and I've put this up here, which is the summoner leaderboard, which is the total summoner rating. If you look at some of these ratings, it is very unlikely that some of the top ratings were achieved by non-spending means, right? I don't know 100% that's the case, but then some of these particular players have a load of rank 5 6 stars. Now, yes, some of them are within some of the top Alliance Wars alliances in the game, and that's probably a reason that they may have had a little bit more tier 6 class catalyst. I've gone and done EOP. I've got a ability to rank 5 at 6 star. Still haven't done that one, by the way. And maybe it's a case, and like from all non-spending means, yes, I have like close to a tier 6 class catalyst formed, and all the other ones are just a little bits in different places. So it's just, again, goes back to the eco space that some of these players have been able to acquire 6 stars by spending to get them. Maybe yes, maybe no, maybe the prolific arena grinders. But there will be people in this particular summoner leaderboard that are able to make quicker gains to get a lot more 7 stars quicker, therefore getting on like, you know, further ahead. There's a gap. Kabam talk about the gap, they don't reference the spending gap. The second part of the gap is that this will be quite big for those that are able to rank up 7 stars quicker. People will be able to do that. Again, gap. and then able to 200 signature. And Kabam will allow there's like different ways to acquire more like 7-star shards and maybe 7-star signature stones as well. And again, what this will do is cause impacts to the eco space of the game when it comes to these particular things. Now, that particular assessment I just had there is, you know, prior to the release of them. I could be completely wrong when these when this all releases, but then again, but people are gonna have access to, like, I have access to 2 7-stars at launch, but if Kabam went under the 15,000, I'd only have 1 7-star. Now, if it's going to be a case that, like, compared with other people, other players may have upwards of 50,000, 60,000, maybe even 70,000, and we've seen some prolific spending between the gifting event, or not gifting, the banquet event in December, and maybe like up until today. So a lot of people might be really ready, and you might see some like stonking openings. So yeah, that's something to kind of mention, but we'll have to see, I think, when everything goes live. I think we'll have to see how it impacts the eco space of like Battlegrounds, and as well we'll have to kind of figure out like what the impact is for potency, because potency is going to be another point as well. And now we're going to move on to part 2 of this, and that's Ascension. I'm sure a lot of people may have been asking the question like, why didn't we hear anything about Ascension in the live stream? And yeah, you know, you'd be right. You know, if you remember, like, Ascension was announced like a long time ago, where it was to help players reach the point where they can begin building out their collection of relics and 7-star champions. We're also going to introduce a new champion Ascension system. Ascension allow players to perform additional limit break rank ups on 4 to 6-star champions. This gives the most active summoners the ability to increase the overall power of their roster. Now, I don't know what that means. Kind of like it's what if you got a time, if you play the game for X amount of time on a daily basis, you get Ascension. I don't know if this is in order to encourage people to play more because people aren't playing as excessively as others. Ascension will give 6-star champions enough of a power boost that their strength will be comparable to 7-stars, and gives players plenty of time to build their 7-star roster before making the move to using this more extensively. And this is why I mentioned that previous kind of coverage of that story, is that, you know, it's important for players to find a equal balanced ecosystem, and depending on how this impacts on stuff like Battlegrounds, it could be great for players that are non-spending players of the game, feel that they can kind of like compete with those that are spending. And again, you know, just kind of point out there's a difference between me saying, oh, you know, it's like 7-star at rank like higher, and you've got your 6-star rank 4 that you're just trying to, like, you know, compete against something that's just not there. And again, just to further to that, the Sasquatch health pool, like Kabam were talking on the Friday live stream, that it's like massive. So if we're talking about champions with hit pools of like 100,000 at some point, this is like having a node bonus champion you're going up against in something like a quest, which is, you know, it would just take a while to like chip down that champion. Any case, moving on. At risk of editorializing, blah 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 blah. If there's anything you take away from this post, is that we're extending the longevity of your 6-star roster and empowering 5-star and 4-star champions for summoners who are battling their way towards the heights of Act 7 and 8. Okay, good news. But just finishing up, Kabam Jackster says, ultimately we are hoping for a release of Ascension around the time 7-stars substantially eclipse 6-stars in power, when Ascension would become most relevant. Man, it's just keeping up to date with this game half the time, like, you know, with so many things are still yet to come to the game, so many new champions are still yet to come to the game, and yeah, so look, Ascension is still on the way. And yeah, it'll be interesting to know like how it allows for a more equal playing field, so you can fairly fight and stuff like Battlegrounds. Will it be allowed in Battlegrounds? Will it not? What are these stat improvements going to be? How is this going to feel good? It's going to be good for non-spending players. There's still so many questions. Same thing with the Titan Crystal. Seen lots of criticism about that. Thing is, for me, like, I need to see it in more details. I want more details to kind of like look at the impact. Just to kind of figure out like, is this actually going to be bad? We need stats, we need data, we need information. And of course, we end the show as we normally do with arena results and predictions. So we're going to look at results for Hela and Shocker. Our results, we have the following. So we have got Shocker with 388 mil, got position 40. 365 mil, got position 75. I don't know if this is a knock-on effect from the timer change that Kabam put in, and it's meaning that players are grinding out more, having access to more, but saying that, it's like, well, you'd have to spend units. I think it was a very popular champion, but when we're pushing close to stuff like 365 mil for position 75, it's just getting beyond a joke, to be honest. I don't know how 7 stars are going to affect the ecosystem, but I don't think we're going to have, like, one day we're going to wake up and it's going to be 1 billion points. 1 billion. I know that may seem like an exaggeration, but one day in this game it's going to be the case, and that's going to be scary. But yeah, if you wanted the 5-star version, 485 position, 51 mil, and then also Hela. Not much information on Hela, but you know, we'll kind of get some more info later on. So predictions for round 2, we're going with 355 mil. I got to be honest, I feel that will drop down, especially because it will scare people off that particular arena. 53 mil for position for 5-star shocker. That probably will be a thing. And yeah, not sure at the moment about cut-off information from Hela, but I'll stick with all of the same. So yeah, that's that. Also, massive thank you to those that support the channel as a YouTube member and as a Patreon. Massive help, massive support, thank you. Also, those that support on twitch.tv/RichTheMan live. I will try and live stream this week. I definitely want to live stream on YouTube. Act 8.2 release on Wednesday, but I'm going to finish up some Thronebreaker, which I might live stream on Twitch, or might play some other games. I don't know. Time is pressing, and I've got a lot of things to do personally this week. But in any case, thanks for watching, and check out some other content, which will be located on screen right now. I'm not quite sure if I'm doing a second video of today. I may do a different game. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, thanks everybody. Cheers, and see you all soon. Much love and goodbye.